Guys, high school is a really tricky decision to make sometimes, right? And when choosing a high school, you need to make sure that their core values of the school aligns with your core values. Now, I mean, this is where you will start to think about your future, which is a little scary sometimes. But today we have the wonderful Ms Julin Jansen in studio with us, who is a teacher at the one and only Sarepta Secondary School. And she's going to be telling us just a little bit about what makes their school so unique. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Well, at this stage, I'm grateful for the opportunity, and thank you for your time this afternoon.
So before we find out a little bit more about the school itself, what about you? How did you get into teaching? Where was that journey from?
I think with the changing economic circumstances, especially when we started out in the pandemic, I started studying. And during 2020, at the heart of COVID, Sarepta opened its doors for me to do my teaching practical, which I'm forever grateful for at this stage. So I've been in the teaching career. This is now my third year, and I'm teaching computer applications technologies from grade 10 to 12.
I mean, you know, it's amazing. I've got to say, the teachers that I meet on the show and off the show, you guys really do have a presence. You know, you've got patience, you've got presence, and of course, you've got all of the knowledge behind that. When it comes to Sarepta, what would you say makes Sarepta stand out? What makes Sarepta unique?
Well, Sarepta is one of our community schools, and when we look at the development that we have, where we've been coming from and where we are now, I would definitely say the involvement of the community has grown to such an extent that we not only feed our learners academically, but we also support their well-being in a holistic approach that we take.
Is there any sort of specific thing you would say Sarepta really strives for?
Well, our vision is not only to nurture learners in the classrooms, but also to keep them engaged and aware of what's happening outside of the classroom, which involves South Africa, not just on a level of the community, but we would love to take them abroad and take them out of their comfort zones.
I think it's so important that you're mentioning how, you know, you want to do the thing that schools do, you know, teach the kids, but then, like, just especially if you're South African, knowing what's going on outside of the school, outside those walls, I think that's such an important message, and it's so special. So what would you say the teachers say that Sarepta really gives to the children in terms of preparing them for their future?
Well, we have wonderful extramural activities as well as sports. And like we know, academic excellence is not always strive for. We have to make sure that not only our learners, but our citizens are able to engage and build relationships. And this is what we pride ourselves on. If we have people that can collaborate as a cohesive and in unity, I'm sure that with us taking it out of the classrooms, this can be carried and grown into our homes as well.
I've got to say, I grew up in the north, and some of my siblings went to Sarepta back in the day, and it's just so nice when, you know, the schools of the community are, you know, out there doing the work that requires unity and requires society to really show up, especially for children. But I know that comes with challenges. So what challenges do you think Sarepta has faced just in general? And I can't even imagine the whole COVID story.
Look, well, with any school or any environment that causes us to grow, I think the challenge that we have is discipline.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that it's isolated, because this is something we experience in most schools, we experience it in our homes. So I think from a teacher's perspective, this is part of us growing. It's something that won't change overnight. It is a process. And if I can put my hand into assisting as far as possible with developing someone to see their purpose, I am sure we are starting to make small changes that will, in future, have big rewards, I would say.
That's so special that your approach to challenges is really about growth, you know, because challenges come with growth, and that's the most important lesson. Clearly you're a teacher, you can tell. So when it comes to, I love that you mentioned extracurricular activities, because, you know, some parents and some families are like, you've got to focus on your academics, you've got to do the schoolwork. What would you say about, you know, the balance of why extracurricular activities are important alongside schoolwork?
Well, I found that many learners, when they strive for academic excellence, they need to have something that keeps them focused outside of classrooms as well. And I think having an extramural that feeds into your child's well-being and assists them with growing holistically as well. Remember, we don't just all learn to be socialites or be able to engage with people without learning this from from teamwork or learning to work with people and engagement. So extramurals at Sarepta is something that is really taking a lift. We have our sports almost on a daily basis, and I won't just say that it's just happening underground. We are definitely featuring in terms of the fields. So you can have a look. You can keep an eye on the prize in the future because we definitely have some aspiring sports that is on hand. I will mention a few. We have some students that have graduated now, but they are actually participating in athletics abroad.
Wow.
We've got some rugby players. We have some soccer. I don't want to leave out chess because, of course, that's one of our sports that feeds our brains and helps the learners to engage, and, of course, the analytical side. So parents definitely look at not only growing their child in the classrooms, but also something that can keep them balanced, because a balanced child is a child that is kept
I'm going to have to rudely cut you off there, but thank you so much for your time. Right now, we're going to head on over to the dining room where Kizzy Kiz is waiting for us. Yeah.